welcome to Phoenix Rising. My heart is very full right now because the woman that I have with me came into my life in October. Maybe, right at, no, it was the
October.
beginning of this year, or I'm trying to think. Did you come in after January?
I think it was right before December.
Okay, so yeah, because I was out
Mm-hmm.
sick that
Yeah.
time. And when she walked into the office that I was in, there was an immediate remembering of each other, is really how I could call it.
Absolutely.
Sisters of the heart.
Yes, joy.
And hearing, getting to know her on the physical level, I haven't done past life regression yet to know where we know each other from the past, because it's definitely, we've been hanging out for a long time
Yes.
and tolerate each other so well.
That's it.
Same very sick sense of humor. Um, her journey in this lifetime, like all of us, has been one of joy and sadness and mountains and valleys. And you were given an awful lot on your plate in the last batch of years.
Yes.
So when I had them put Warrior Goddess Survivor on the credits, it's because you are.
I feel it.
Yeah. And Gina has agreed to be vulnerable today and tell her story of her journey with cancer, kicking its butt.
Yep, I got that right.
And her attitude and her energy, you shine so brightly that there are really no words for it. And I know you went through hell and back a lot of times.
Yep.
So the main topic of today, when we talked about her coming on, she's never done this before. She's so brave to be here and driving out in a monsoon, is to talk about her journey. And when we were talking about it at the office one day, there are so many people, the women I know and the two men I know, that have gone through the journey of cancer that for one reason or another were denied unconditional loving support from their spouses, their children, or close friends, because it's almost like when someone passes away, people don't know what to say, people don't know what to do, and some people think, well, if I hide, if I don't look at him or her, it's better than me not knowing what to say.
I think that, but I think on some part of it also is you see people's true colors, who they truly are.
Yeah.
In that need of needing that mental, emotional support, and then they're not there.
Yeah.
And it's like then dealing what you're going through, and then dealing with the people you cherished and you thought were your adopted family is not there, and you're kind of like a what the moment, like
What the
wow,
fuck?
you're scared of the cancer when I have it, and
Yeah.
like so for me that was a big part in the beginning for me.
How long ago were you diagnosed?
4 years ago, February. But I've always took life that if it's dealt to you, you just have to figure out how to handle it. I didn't dwell on why did it happen to me? How could this happen to me? It was just like, all right, I got this. What do I got to do? What are my options?
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing my research on what my options were going to be, because I did not want to do chemo if that was going to be one of them.
Yeah.
It was not even a thought in my mind.
Okay.
I would have traveled if I had to get natural.
And there are places.
There are places to go. But with my diagnoses and almost like the time frame, it was more for me, I want it out.
Yeah.
That was my main concern. How do I get it out?
Yeah.
But
And did you interview different doctors, or were you fortunate enough and blessed enough to find the first one you went to?
no, I went to a few, and then I actually had a lumpectomy done by one physician. But after the reports came back, it didn't sit well with me of going through, 10 weeks, 4 days a week of radiation and a 50% chance of it coming back within a 7-year. I wasn't going to live with that weighing on my head. I had a 20-year-old daughter at the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, so I went for a second opinion, I actually ended up going to my mom's oncologist, Dr. Rocco Caruso, his just,
Your heart.
and he said, you have options, he said, I believe this doctor missed something.
Okay.
He had the utmost respect for that doctor, but he really felt they missed something. So he directed me to a breast surgeon. And like you, the minute I walked in the room, I felt such a good energy in there, and
Yeah.
just how laid back he was. He came in, he had my report, everything was highlighted. He's like, you got one busy breast going on there, girl. Like what's
So
going
he
on
was
in
so
there?
upbeat from
He
the
was
first
so
moment.
much more upbeat than them saying, oh, 10 weeks, 5 days a week of radiation.
Not personal or anything.
Not at all. And that's what I thought with the first physician. I'm like, really? Did you go through this? You're saying that like I should just do this? And when I had asked them about the mastectomy, she grabbed my wrist and she said, no more surgeries. And I said, well, I'll be the judge of that, not you.
Mm.
So that's when I decided, and I went to Dr. Caruso. He directed me to another surgeon who then directed me to Dr. Bank, my plastic surgeon. And again, a fantastic vibe. He just made me feel comfortable and told
You've
me what
talked to me
options I
about him in
had.
the office, yeah.
Yes. But he gave me my options. He gave me more options than just radiation. And then, he said, you go home, you think about it. And that's what I did. And then that's when I made the choice to do the double mastectomy and have the deep flap with the reconstructive surgery.
Yeah. And the healing process.
The healing process was rough.
Yeah. Could somebody sneak some tissues in here, please?
It's about to happen.
Yeah. And Dr. Banks is the one
Yeah.
that's been with you, because when
Yes.
you talk to me about him, you light up, even when there's tears, because he sounds so humane,
Mm-hmm.
so kind, and that he really cares about his people, not even
Yes.
patients. I never met the man, but I don't get the feeling that he sees you as a patient, as a chart number or anything like that. He sees you as Gina,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants you to shine, continue shining brightly.
That he does. And he saw me the same day. Dr. Derisi called from his office.
Yeah.
Said, I have a 53-year-old, blah, blah, blah. And he took me right in.
Yeah.
And he was worth the wait. Him, his office, and just the options that are out there, Phoenix, I don't think many people know
They don't.
have.
People that I'm in contact with know about chemo, radiation, surgery.
There's so much more beyond that.
And so few doctors talk about the mind-body connection, talk about, and you just met the guest before you, Dr. Laurel, that there are so many ways to integrate different healing modalities. Because
Yes.
some of them are pharmaceuticals, some of them are very technology leaning, and some of them are very ancient and old school. And when you have the capability of combining them both, when you could really look at the person that's come to you for assistance, and you look at them from over the crown of their head, and just look at the energy and be aware that not only is there physical stuff happening here, there's emotional stuff happening here. You have to be with that whole person. You can't just treat this cancerous monster. The first person that came to me with cancer, we talked about it as if it was an uninvited guest in her home, her body, and how she was having them leave. And they were leaving, and in time, that guest left. So I don't know if you're aware of the story about my mother and her cancer. Did I ever get to tell you? This is, I'm sure you all, well, a lot of you heard it, so forgive me if you've heard it. So my mom in her mid to late 80s was still a firecracker. And she lived in Queens, in Kew Garden Hills, and she'd still get on the express bus going to the city. She gave up being the president of the Women's Grand Jurors Association of Queens. She was like 82 already. And she was slowing down. There was something going on. She didn't feel good. And I would go in about twice a week, take her shopping. We'd go out to eat. She would get her reflexology and her Reiki, fix. And it was in December that she went to her doctor, she adored him, he adored her, Joseph. His name sounded very much like Donut. So I won't say his real name because we used to call him Dr. Donut. And he and his wife just adored my mother. She was very spicy. And she said, I went to him, we did some tests, whatever. And being her healthcare proxy, he called me on my birthday in December, 2 days before Christmas, my other December baby here. And he said, I have Mom's results. I said, okay, what is it? He says she has a malignant mass in her abdomen. I said, how big? Like, it really didn't matter. He said, about the size of your fist. Yeah.
Wow.
I want you to come in to St. John's Hospital tomorrow and we'll talk. He said, I want to talk about how to approach her with it, even though I know her for years. I said, we'll talk. You need to be honest and compassionate when you talk to her. Even though she's your friend and everything, you need to be professional, but you need to have that kindness. You have to be her cushion right now. So I get to the hospital, which is no longer there, and I'm walking with him to the doctor's lounge, and he's shorter than me. And he looks at me, and he says to me, I know what you do, and I don't want you touching your mother. And I said, Doc, if you know what I do, and I'm sure he did, I'm sure my mother talked to him about the Reiki he did, and the Reiki that, and I said, if you believe what I do does not work, why would you care? And if you believe what I do does work, you would be promoting me and people like me to work on my mother and people with any kind of diagnosis.
Yes.
He didn't have an answer for that. So I said, all right, so I bring my mother in a few days later, and we're sitting in his office, and she had her own mind. You could not talk her into doing anything she didn't want to do. So we sit down, and he's like, well, Bobby, I have this surgery signed up. You signed up for this surgery, and you're going to get radiation and chemo and this, that, the other thing, and blah, blah, blah.
I love that you're gonna.
You're gonna.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I'm not.
And that's where that
And
worry
he
comes
was beyond furious at me. I said, she has her own mind. I did not tell her what to do, what not to do. It's not my place.
in. Right.
This is my mother. If she wants to just leave it, she could leave it. If she wants surgery, I got her back. She could have surgery, whatever she wants. So she said, she didn't tell me anything. He said, so what do you want to do? And I understand his point of view as the physician, as the traditional physician. You cut it, you get it out, if that's possible. But here she is. Yeah, she was 88, and she had this gorgeous head of white hair. And she said, no, because everything you're telling me to do at my age, what's the quality of my life going to be like after surgery? I love my hair. I'm vain. I love my hair. I love the way I look. Not one wrinkle on her face. And I want my energy for my children, my grandchildren. I want to go out to dinner. I want to do things. So if I have this surgery and chemo and radiation, I'm going to be homebound, and that's how I'm going to die. Because you're going to take, basically, they were taking her life force from her. So she said no. So they were going back and forth. It was like watching a ping pong game. And they made a deal that in the spring, she would come back for another scan and biopsy to see the progress or whatever was happening in her gut. She said, I have the deal with you. And this, I'll never forget, we went back to the same hospital. But when we went home that day, I said, well, what do you want me to do? She said, I just want you and your friends to send me Reiki and ask people to pray for me. I said, you got it. And we sent her Reiki long distance. We did Reiki on her in person. and she was doing her thing. We went back there the day after Ash Wednesday. The nurse takes her upstairs for the scan and the biopsy, and I'm sitting in the family waiting room. 10 minutes, the nurse comes back. I was like, that's impossible. Couldn't have done it that fast. She didn't even get her teeth out that fast, which she never liked to give up her teeth. God forbid there's a handsome doctor
My
she
mom
could flirt
neither.
with at
Oh, my
80-something years
Lord.
old. So nurses, we need you upstairs. It's like, oh dear God, what did she do? Because I learned how to curse from my mother. We'll just leave it at that one. So I get upstairs, I go into the room, and it is the same lovely doctor that did the initial scan and biopsy. And he's doesn't know what to do with my mother. He doesn't know what to do with what he sees on the screen either. My mother is sitting up, putting on her red lipstick, saying, I'm hungry, let's go. So I said, well, wait. And the doctor said to me, thank you. He said, I did the original scan and biopsy. I know what I'm looking at. There's nothing there to do a biopsy on. I said, okay. I mean, I was just tickled pink. My mother was tickled pink, but she was annoyed because they were cutting into her lunch hour. You know, we were going to go to Ben's Kosher Deli and have corned beef and whatever she wanted. And he said, I asked your mother, and she held up her hand and she interrupted him. And there was no stopping it. It's like if a train is coming, that's how she was. And she said, and I told him, and please all forgive me, I'll try to keep it neat and tidy. I told him I went to the bathroom. I had a bowel movement. She didn't say that. And it came out. And I'm trying now not to laugh because this man is horrified with her language because there was an effing
Oh,
before the bowel movement, everything in there. Because she's just like, I'm 88. What are you going to do with
Right.
me? You know, hey. And I just looked at the doctor. I said, if that is how she experienced this malignant mass leaving her body, who are we to disagree with that?
you can't?
You cannot disagree with that. And she lived until 94. She died
God bless her.
cancer-free, and she died because she just didn't want to be here anymore because old people were bothering her.
She sounds so much like my mother.
Right, and they're probably
Up
out there
there
like
now.
kicking it around. When Scott had cancer, he had esophageal cancer. He did it a little differently. And I'm sure that maybe it's 50-50. I'd have to talk to more people who have gone through this horrific journey. He tried to push everyone away. He didn't want the support. And what I realized is he was starting arguments with me, starting arguments with his daughter, with his two sons, with the two friends that he's been close to for like, it was over 50 years already. And his daughter and the two friends and I had a meeting, like an intervention. And I said, I think what he's trying to do, and I'm not a therapist, is to alienate us so when he passes, he thinks it's going to hurt less. And that's what he was doing. So we all marched in on him and told him that it's not going to work. We're going to be here and we're going to drive you crazy and we're going to take you for the massages. We're going to take you to the doctors and you're stuck with us.
Did he do chemo?
Oh, he did chemo and radiation, and because he did push us away for a couple of weeks while he went through the radiation. So I hadn't seen him. So he did lose a lot of weight because he couldn't eat. And when I got to his house, I walked in because he said, I need you here now. He was finally ready to say, I need my support system. And I walked in, and there's 3 steps going up into the entrance, and the light was behind him. It was like twilight outside. So the light wasn't blasting on his face, which was better. It gave me a moment or two to like catch my breath. And our dear friend Rosie, who was like an older sister, second mother to me, his friend for ages, said to me, when you see him, don't you cry.
It's hard.
And it was like, oh, what am I going to see? This is the man that I adore more than anything in this world. And I walked in, so I saw by the light behind him that he had lost all his beautiful curls. He had these soft, wavy curls. His hair was wonderful. And I got closer, so he had no eyebrows, no eyelashes. He looked like Gandhi. And he just held me, and we both cried. And then we sat down, and his voice, of course, had changed from the radiation. He had to take, he called it his magic mouthwash,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted Chinese food. So I said, I'll call. He said, I'll call. So he was going to take charge and going to do what he needed to do to still feel like himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he made it through almost a year. And something happened. I don't know what it was. I don't know why he gave up. But I came into the house one night. Something said to me, he sounded weird on the phone when we talked to each other to say goodnight. So I drove to his house because we had the keys to each other's place. And I walked in, and on the kitchen table was a little bottle of brandy, which he should not have been drinking, and a pack of cigarettes. The fury that came up in me, that you want to die. So I went karate crazy. No one has ever seen me like this, and I've never admitted this on air, of course. I kicked in the bedroom door, just went to the bedroom door, and I did kicked the door open. Poor man didn't know what the hell happened. And I held the brandy and the cigarettes, and I said a few choice words. And I drove back home, and I called his daughter. It was like very late at night. And I said, I can't talk to him. I'll meet you. You take him to the doctor tomorrow, whatever time it was. I'm not taking him to the doctor because right now he's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's trying to die. You know, so he did set himself back, and but he went forward. But he had already done so much damage. But I was blessed to be with him when he passed, and that is for a very spiritual show of talking about spirits and things like that. And I know your mom is with you.
Oh, yeah, she's all over me.
Yeah,
I knew she would be.
yeah,
It was a rough relationship with her because she was one that was not there for me.
yeah.
And, I chose to forgive. What am I going to do,
And I believe I told you that last week or this week that I had gone to a retreat and I was getting a massage or energy work out on the water. And this woman came over to me that was a channeler, and she said, I have a message for you. Your father passed, right? And I said, yes. She said, he's asking for your forgiveness. And there was no hesitation. It was like, tell him I'm working on it. Because forgiveness can't come like that. You have to make peace with yourself that maybe they did know better. For whatever reason, I believe in life contracts. For whatever reason, we signed up for this contract to have us treat this person this way or them treat us in a certain way to learn the lesson.
Yes. I wish I would have had the opportunity to forgive her while she was alive and
I
not
didn't forgive my
after her
dad when he was
death. Like,
alive.
I didn't forgive her before.
But you could also write her a letter.
I did, and I've already sent it after I had that woman come to me on the beach.
Tell them about that.
My daughter and I got stuck on the beach, and this woman, the only other car on the beach, came to help us. And Hannah has a cardinal tattoo on her arm, and she was asking about that. Is it to relation to a passing? My daughter said yes, my grandmother, and she said yeah, she's here laughing at you too right now, which is just so typical of my mom's personality to do that. So I had just gotten out of a reconstructive surgery, so I could not help Hannah. So as she's digging, flies are all over the tire, and this woman's just telling me what my mother's saying and how my mother's laughing, and it was just so eye-opening for me to know that my mom wasn't there, throughout my life and the support there, but she's here now. And just how she brought herself to us. But what was interesting is we never get stuck. We off-road, we do all these things. We should not have gotten stuck. We have everything we need to, but we could not get out. So I had called, my husband, and my neighbor came, and the woman had said, I'm so sorry, we have to leave. We can't help you anymore. I'm like, it's fine.
You
So
never
they,
got her name or her number, did
I
you?
did, because yes, I did.
Okay.
I did get her name and her number, and I actually had another reading with her. But the minute my husband got there, he got in the truck, he literally put it in gear and
And it went.
it went right out.
Because Mom knew what she was doing.
Yes, and when I had spoken to Jennifer after that, she had said your mother was waiting for him to come. She was
Yeah.
waiting for your husband to get here. And she kept telling me, don't go yet, don't go yet, go back, go back. I have to say something to him.
Okay.
But,
How
so it
did you,
opened my world to the,
to
the
the,
other
the
side.
loving
And
energy?
yes,
Because when I guess all of us are here, we don't realize how we might have hurt someone.
mhm,
And if we have that wonderful opportunity when we go through the veil to come back and make amends from that end that maybe we weren't ready to make from this end.
right. And that's what I love about meeting you. And the Reiki is opening me up to that.
Yeah.
It's opening up to the more of the forgiveness
Your
and
mother sent you to me.
yes, I believe that because she's with your mother up there.
Yeah,
They like those
definitely.
young
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, they're like, this is my daughter. Well, this is my daughter. Get
Hmm.
them together.
My mother went through the breast cancer as well, and when we had taken her, the surgeon said, well, we could take this breast off. And she was 80 years old, my mom. So she's like, well, can you make it look like this one? And at 80, it's down here.
Yeah,
So,
you trip over it when you're
even
walking.
her personality to that was, you know,
Yeah,
funny. Not funny, but
yeah.
acceptance of it.
Acceptance of it and the stubbornness and the standing in their power,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something my mother always said to me, even though growing up in that house was crazy and dysfunctional and harmful. One of the things, it was always, you could do anything. But on the other hand, it was, you can't do anything, but you can do
Right.
anything.
You're
You
not
can do
allowed, but
anything.
you can.
Yeah, yes, you can. Then you
Right.
come home and your father-in-law will beat the crap
Right.
out of you. So here's a sensitive question. One of the reason for the topic is, after you were diagnosed and began your journey through healing,
Mm-hmm.
how did your family respond?
My daughter took it very well. Like, Hannah really did join in on it. She would ask me questions. She was my caretaker.
Yeah. That's why we got the tissues.
I know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Her being 20 years old and just having to see me go through that and understanding that I had to go through my own self-healing, not including them. Like, knowing they're there for me to help me, but knowing mentally I needed to do this on my own. And she was good. Jack, on the other hand, he was a little leery about it, like reluctant, like, we're here to help you. Why aren't you?
Why aren't you you?
Well, yeah. And that's what it was, because I was always alpha female. I was always the one to take care of everything. But he couldn't understand that I needed to go through a healing, that I can't do everything anymore. I'm out of commission for quite some time.
Yeah.
It was 12 weeks was the first. And, for me, my healing process was accepting what was happening to me, accepting the decisions I was making, because they are drastic decisions to make.
Yeah.
And, I needed time to just realize I'm going to be different. I'm going to feel different
On every level of
on
your
every
being.
level. Like, how am I to put myself first? Like, how selfish is that? When I never did it before. I was a wife, I was a mother. I took care of other people's children. I mean,
Yes.
I've been taking care of children since I'm 19. And it was always like, how do I put myself first? So all the research and the reading, I realized you have to go through self-healing.
Yeah.
And that's when it's almost like years later when I started the process but wasn't fully in there. And then I met you. And it was just that whole Reiki and the understanding of it and the sessions with you that just made me realize you have so much self-healing to do. It doesn't come instantly.
It doesn't.
And even though I'm 4 years out, I still have
It's still healing,
healing.
Elizabeth. And Jack didn't, that's her husband, guys.
Yeah.
he didn't know what to do.
No.
Because many times, the closest family members don't know what to say to you, don't know if they could touch you. Your intimacy changes out of a number of things. One is fear, the other is ignorance. I'm going to hurt you, or or like a no comprehension of I can hurt you, but my needs are more important than yours, even though you just went through this journey,
Right.
and I'm watching you go through it. People don't know how there's no, I don't know that the communities anywhere really talk to the family, to the caregivers, caretakers of someone going through cancer and other major traumatic changes in their life. I
No.
believe that we need to get it out there more that you are a caregiver. This loved one of yours has cancer. Can you stand up and have their back? Can you do this? You will have support, and this is the support we have for you as the supporting person.
Right, but they almost forget to support themselves.
Totally.
Like Jack, he had no clue what I was going to be going through. I mean, you sit there, like you said, you listen to what these doctors say. We're going to do this, 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 and it's like, okay. But
And the doctors never say I can't say never, the doctors that I have experience with people do not say to the family member, and here's this group, and I want you to contact them, or I'm having Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so contact you to help you on the journey with Gina, with this one, with that one.
Yeah.
That there's time to leave her alone. There's time that she needs you to just hold her in your arms. Don't even answer, don't say a word, just be there.
Right, and it was almost for me a little frustrating that I felt like I had to ask for that.
Yeah.
But I understood that,
Because he was fearful.
he was fearful. And, after a couple of weeks, he finally came and said it. Because, you come out of the hospital, you got drains hanging out of you.
Yeah.
You're not you. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God,
What happened?
What happened?
Who came in
what
here?
What are those?
Yeah.
Not realizing it just wasn't doing a mastectomy, moving my natural tissue up and it being done. I mean, here I am 4 years later and I'm still going through reconstructive surgeries
Yeah.
but it's more of the mindset of hearing that diagnoses and now saying, shit, look what I gotta do now. I gotta make life-changing decisions.
Yeah.
But for me, I was always, as they say, take the bull by the horns
Mm-hmm.
and just deal with a situation I'm given.
Yeah.
And that's what I did here. But with the surgeon's office that I went to, when you say the support, they offer all that. And
Yeah.
that was what was wonderful. And I almost wish Jack would have, gotten involved in it and stuff where I did. So I heard a lot of women's stories and so, but everybody's different.
Yeah,
We all
handle it
have
different.
yeah.
When we were talking about you being on the show, how you being on the show was like getting validated over and over again. Remember that woman that
Yes.
came into the office?
Mhm.
And she would have been here with us today, but her dog was having that surgery.
Yeah.
So she'll come on, I hope you come on again and come on with her,
Mhm.
that there's more discussion, and because there's so much to talk about in this. And it was just so interesting because I asked her what she did. And she runs this organization, and I believe it's cancer or patient and family oriented. And I believe the name of it is Stepping Stones.
Stepping stones, yeah.
So if you look that up, it is geared toward patients and families with cancer. And then my hairdresser, Frank, who I adore for many, many years, has had to retire from work. So I had to go find someone else to cut my hair. So I walk into this place that I never remembered being at, and they told me I was there in 2011. Have no memory of it, none whatsoever. And they were in a different building, and my age, decrepit, so all that stuff. So while I was there and I was talking to the owner, lovely lady, Lisa, was cutting my hair, and she said something about Laura, the woman I share my office space with. And I said, that's who I share space with. She said, oh, you're the Reiki master teacher. And I said, yes. And she said something, and I said, this is what I do, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, we have this every monthly Monday where different practitioners come to the shop and give their services to people going through the journey of cancer. And, to be
It's
self-healing.
beautiful.
So it's you, it's this woman from Stepping Stones, Renee, darling woman, this other woman, and I don't think you met Michaela at the Reiki Circle. You'll meet her, she'll come to the next one.
No.
You'll come to the next one.
Yes.
Michaela is also a survivor, double mastectomy, reconstructive surgery, and her support system totally deflated on her. She was also the go-getter in the house. She took care of everything. They have a daughter that is in the spectrum and has physical challenges, so she was the main caregiver of this amazing young woman, and who loves Reiki, by the way. When we do Reiki meditations, if we're in a forest and the music is playing, she's in arm supports, but she moves her arms as if she's in a ballet. A whole different energy comes through her. And when Michaela, who I call Mishi, was diagnosed before I met her after her reconstructive surgery, she told me about her journey, and that her husband said, I can't take care of you, I can't look at you.
Oh my goodness.
You
It's
know
like a
me,
punch to
you
the
don't know me
throat.
that long, but you know me well enough to know speechless does not
Yeah.
happen here. And I said, who took care of you? She said, really no one, because he asked his mother to take care of me. And you'd figure, mother-in-law or not, this is another woman, this is a mother figure. Because Mishy's mom is over in Germany. She can't just pick up and come here. And I don't think she was emotionally capable of it either. And the mother-in-law, when she got into the bedroom, like to bring her breakfast or her medications or something, said to her, you have to cover your face and your head because this looks horrible. I can't look at you like this. So this is what this woman went through
That's mean.
in recovering.
That's terrible.
Again, speechless. But she's going through stuff now, so she could not be here with us. And so I said, I'm going to tell a bit of your story.
Just a little bit of kindness helps.
Just a
little bit.
A little bit. And this day, many years after her surgery, I still see the impact of that cruelty that was directed to her. Because it wasn't just ignorance, that was blatant cruelty.
That is cruelty, and it almost, it makes you feel unappreciated a little bit as well when you don't have that support, like, wow,
Yeah.
all I've done for you, and
This woman ran this household
I'll
with
help
a
her.
child in the spectrum and also worked for her husband's business. And he still expects her, if he wants to renovate a basement or build an extension, he expects her there to work by his side. So I did tell her no is a complete sentence.
It sure
Get in your
is.
car and go take a ride to the beach.
Yep.
The beach, your
I love
saving
the
place.
beach.
It's amazing stuff.
It really is. That's terrible, though. It's
Yeah.
not nice.
So
Takes your spirit.
I'm gonna go into your heart and your head now.
Okay,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Trust me.
I do.
Okay. So take a minute and breathe about it. Close your eyes and think about what you would say to someone today, male or female, that you ran across, say someone even in the supermarket that you connected visually with and looked so sad, and you reached out to them and they told you that they just got a diagnosis of cancer. What would you, my beautiful warrior goddess, what would you say to them?
I would just let them know that I never want to say it's going to be okay, because you never know if it's going to. But I would let them know that there's options, you have options, there is support out there if you seek it. There is support out there. and that the stronger your mind is, the stronger your body will be. And just know that you could beat this.
Yeah,
You could fight this, you could beat this. You just have to have a positive mind thought. And I would let them know that, I would love to help people. I try and help people that when they talk about, I'm in an empowerment group with my plastic surgeon's office, and they'll send people your way who they feel will connect with you with
Yeah.
your situation. So I'll speak to women about what I went through.
Right.
When they think about the double mastectomy and the deep flap, and I mean, it's amazing. They could take tissues from all over, but my specific was my abdomen got
Right.
moved up. So for me, what it was like to basically have a tummy tuck and a double mastectomy at the same time. It's just that support group to let them know you have options, and, just listen to your mind, listen to your body, go with what you feel is right.
Mm,
Like I knew to tell them that not every doctor knows what's best for you. And when I
right.
did not have that good feeling with that 50% chance, it's,
Yeah. You listen
you
to
have
that
choices
instinct.
and listen to yourself. No, because I had a lot of people tell me, Phoenix, you're being drastic, cutting them off. I think,
No,
no, 50% is not a good number to
it's
me.
not a good
It's
number,
like
honey.
10,000 in a poker game, and you got 50% chance of winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not an easy decision. A very
it's
courageous
it.
decision.
Yes, that's what people say.
But I believe your spirit guides and God spoke to you too.
Absolutely, they did. They led me
Yeah.
to all the doctors.
And you
They led
listened.
me. Yes,
You
and I
listened.
did my own research as well.
Yeah, my sister did not, well, my two sisters did not listen. My sister, I'm the youngest, two older than me. The middle one passed away. Mom passed 2006, so Vicky passed like 2008. Her third bout with cancer.
Oof.
And I've said this before, and it sounds very strange, but for some reason I really believe it, that she kept, every time they cleared her, she invited it back.
Back in.
Feel so. She had breast cancer. I don't know what the second one was. And when she died, it was rectal cancer.
Mm.
I really don't believe she wanted to be here anymore. Maybe she wanted to be a martyr. I don't know what it was. And then my older sister, Gloria, had breast cancer. And when Vicky, the middle sister, she lived in Canada, went through everything, she didn't want anyone to know. She didn't want a support system.
I know a few people like that.
I don't understand that. She didn't tell any of us when there were surgeries. We'd call, and my nephew would tell us, she's out shopping, she's doing this,
Mhm.
she's doing that. So she was not available. She lived in Canada. He would say, oh, she drove to Buffalo to do whatever, she'll be back next week. So we never knew until the close to the very end. And then my sister Gloria, the one that is still with me and lives in Nevada, and she's in her 80s, and she didn't want to tell me she had breast cancer. So when we finally talked, I gathered all the information, whether it's traditional, alternative, integrative,
Mhm.
however you want to deal it. I found places so close to her home with amazing reputations and every type of support that you can imagine.
Mhm.
I said, I will come out there and help you. I'll take off and I'll be there for you. But she chose a doctor, and it was her choice. This man was extremely bossy
Mm.
and said one thing one week and another thing the other week. There's no surgery for you because of your age. Yes, there's surgery. So she's had surgery, and the lymph nodes that go up to her shoulder, she can't lift her arm anymore. He told her no chemo. She had chemo. Uh, and he never asked her, how do you feel?
Mm.
Because I would ask her these questions. Does he ask you about how you're doing emotionally? No, why should he do that?
I think that was part of the reason why I chose my plastic surgeon, because his office, they offered all of that.
Yeah. And they make it clear to you.
And you see
This
them.
is here for you.
It's here for you. It's Zoom, it's phone calls, personal. it's just out there. You just have to take it.
Yeah. There was a doctor.
And no doctor should tell you.
No. There's a doctor locally, and I promise I won't say his name. I will use his initials, though, possibly. I had a very dear friend. She's my friend as an angel now, Eva. And Eva had cancer years before I met her. Eva, in her heyday, was the, what was it? Oh, it's a very fancy liqueur. She was that model. She was the Emprez-vous girl. So look her up, Eva Albert, the Emprez-vous girl. Beautiful, short, natural blonde hair from Germany. What a firecracker, what an absolute darling. So during the years of our friendship, her cancer came back, and it was in her stomach.
Ouch.
So she went to this doctor, whose initials are BS. Sorry. And,
Oh, really?
huh?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And her son went with her, who's a professor. So you have two very intelligent people. She and her son are there. And the doctor said, yes, it's this, that, the other thing, because she went to her doctor in the city. And he said, you don't need to keep coming here. Go to this one and whatever. So BS tells her that this one cocktail of chemo is going to get rid of the cancer for her. This
Wow.
was said in front of her and in front of her son, who is a grown-ass man.
Was she gonna bet on
Professor.
that?
So this was amazing to hear that he knew, and she went in, great attitude. She was starting to lose her hair, so she got a buzz cut. She looked gorgeous with her buzz cut. And then it started to race ahead of the chemo. So we would take good care of her. I'd go to the house almost 3 or 4 times a week and do Reiki on her, do reflexology, talk to her. And her husband just passed away a few months ago at 99.
Oh, God bless. Wow.
Amazing man. He adored her, absolutely
Love to
adored
hear
her.
that secret.
And he had all his faculties when he passed. His body was done. Dear Everett. And so she goes back with her son, Mark, who's another, you will meet him, he's an angel. They go back to Dr. And he said, well, I have bad news for you. The cancer is back. And this is not inoperable. We can't do anything about it. And she's shocked. She said, but you told us that this was it. And Mark is furious. Eva's shocked and furious. And his response was, don't get mad at me. I didn't give you the cancer. So this is when I was doing live shows still in Riverhead. And I invited him onto the show a couple of times. I gave him plenty of opportunities to come and explain why he stood the way he stood, and to just explain his treatment. Is that how you treat all your patients? And I gave him my word on air that I would sit quietly and give him the respect of speaking, and I would not curse him out or anything like that.
In
That
your
would have
mind
been
you did.
really hard.
Up here you did.
And, after and off camera, what I was saying was, how can you do that? As any type of healthcare practitioner, you can't give anyone a definite of anything.
Absolutely not.
When you've come to me, I don't give you a definite of what's going to unfold that day. All I know is there are guides in that room that channel through me, that are there in their own presence, that make it the most amazing session for you and for me as the practitioner. That's all I can tell you. People have come into my office and said, well, I have this going on, and now you're going to make me better. And that's only happened twice, and I have not taken them in. I've stood in my doorway and said, I wish you told me that on the phone when you made your appointment, because your care of yourself, spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, on every level, is a partnership. And not just a partnership with the practitioner you're coming to, that's a partnership with your higher power, with your angels. You can walk into a doctor's or a practitioner's office and say, I'm all yours, make me better. You're not going to get better because you're not taking responsibility of your life's journey. In order for me to heal from the things I've had to heal from, I have to take responsibility for where'd this come from? Why am I dealing with this? All right, I don't know why right now, possibly, but I know this is still an issue for me, so I need to do research. I need to find out, is this something from a carryover, or is this something I'm going to be carrying over into another lifetime? And do I have a choice to take it with me or clear it now? Give me the information. And I believe that we all have to do it. Some of us aren't ready to do it. You know?
Yeah.
And you really took something on, because cancer is an invader.
Yes.
When I see people write it with a capital letter C, I say, please, do not give it that honor. And if someone puts the word my in front of it, or any disease,
No, we call it the.
it's or it. Because when you say my photo, my picture, my this, my that, you are making an energetic connection to that, and you're letting it know
Yep.
that it
Belongs
belongs
to you,
in
you
you
own
and
it.
with you. But when you say it's an uninvited guest. Why would you invite poison into your life? So somehow it got in a weak moment, or maybe past life issues, whatever reason it came in. Do you want it? My sister sadly wanted it, and she chose a really painful, horrific way to go through the last years of her life.
It's horrible.
And it's so sad. I pray that on the other side, with my mom and my dad, and everyone else in the family that's taken the jump over the Golden Rainbow Bridge, that they're all doing the work together to say, let's all get healthy now.
They are on the other side, I always say.
Can you believe you only have 3.5 minutes left?
Oh, wow.
She was so scared. No, you weren't scared.
I was nervous.
Yeah, and
I've never
I
did
told you.
anything. This is,
This
big
is
stepping out of the box. I'm an introvert, remember?
Yeah, yes.
So this is a big step out of the box.
And people don't realize I'm an introvert also. This is, for me, when I do this, I still get butterflies, but I feel it's so important for me to get over myself and have people like you on to get the messages out. And I'm so blessed to have LTV here, because everyone, all the guys and gals in production that you see on the
Oh, sweet.
credits, send them blessings and love, because they do an amazing job here. Ellen and Michael up in front. This place is
Very welcoming.
it's very
It's a good
sacred.
energy here.
It's sacred space here. It really is.
It's a comfort.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you had the courage
Yes.
to be
Thank
here
you.
today, because
Thank
this
you for
it's
inviting
not
me.
easy. I get butterflies
No.
until I say, welcome to Phoenix Rising. Because sometimes I think, should I say good morning? Should I say good afternoon? It's like, oh, just shut up and say welcome,
Yeah.
After all
And it
these,
is welcoming. It's a
after
perfect
all
word.
these years, I still get like a crazy woman. But how we
Yeah,
ended
switch
the
it, yeah.
first show that Gina got to see part of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna end this one, if you'd all join in a little meditation,
Yes.
okay? So make yourself comfy and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale from your mouth. And feel the beautiful energy around you, whether you're here in the studio, at home, at work. Just feel the presence of unconditional love, peace, compassion, and kindness. Bring all of that in on your breath. Bring it all the way down to your root chakra. Let it flow down your legs, Let it gather up any kind of residue that doesn't belong to you. And as you exhale, let it out of your mouth, out of the crown of your head. Again, another nice deep breath in. Let it fill every single cell of your body. Gather up what does not belong to you. Any negativity, tension, anxiety. And exhale it to be transformed into neutral energy, to then be transformed into positive energy. I send you all love, light, and the sweetest of blessings. Shine your lights brightly. Have a beautiful, blessed, and magical day and life. Namaste. May the blessings be. And thank you all for watching the show. My love and blessings to all. And thank you, my honey. So special.